In the 29th century, humanity had spread far beyond Earth. Great cities floated among the stars, glowing like silver webs around distant suns. The Terran Union ruled thousands of worlds united under one flag, one government, and one dream: to keep humanity strong and free among the stars. But peace was not easy. Decades of war with alien races had left scars that no one could erase. Ships drifted in orbit, half destroyed, reminders of a time when the galaxy burned. Out of that fire came heroes, and one name stood above them all: Commander Elias Vance. Elias was a soldier of unmatched courage, known across the Union as the man who ended the Xyrix War. 10 years earlier, when alien fleets surrounded Earth, Elias led a suicide mission through enemy lines. He destroyed the Xyrix command ship and ended the war in one brilliant strike. Many believed he had died that day. But now, after a decade of silence, a small transport ship appeared on the edge of Union space. The ship's ID code was ancient, almost forgotten. When the docking crew scanned it, their eyes widened. The code matched Elias Vance. The message spread like fire across the fleet. Commander Vance is alive. The arrival of the docking bay on Fortress Station Vega 9 filled with soldiers, engineers, and officers. The air buzzed with whispers and disbelief. The bay doors opened and the ship descended slowly on glowing thrusters. When the ramp lowered, a tall man stepped out. His hair was silver now, his uniform torn and burned, but his eyes, deep gray and calm, were unmistakable. Elias Vance had returned. At the front of the crowd stood Admiral Sarah Valen, the commander of the entire Union fleet. Her posture was proud, but her eyes shimmered with emotion. She had once fought beside Elias. To her, he was more than a legend, he was family. "Welcome home, Commander," she said, her voice steady. Elias looked at her for a long moment. "Home," he whispered, as if testing the word. "It's been a long road." Before Sarah could speak again, a group of medics approached, carrying scanners and equipment. Behind them walked another woman, her dark hair tied back, her expression sharp and confident. Dr. Lyra Valen, Sarah's younger sister, one of the greatest scientific minds in human history. Lyra stepped forward, eyes fixed on Elias. "He's alive," she murmured, studying his face. "The neural patterns survived. My design worked," Sarah's tone hardened. "He's not your experiment, Lyra, he's a man." Lyra gave a quiet laugh. "A man? Look closer, sister. You know what I did to save him." The tension between them was like static in the air. Officers shifted uncomfortably, unsure if they should stay or leave. Elias frowned slightly. "What did you do to me?" Lyra tilted her head. "You don't remember? That's expected. The integration may have blurred some of your memories." Sarah stepped forward protectively. "Enough, Lyra. He needs rest, not your science talk." Lyra crossed her arms. "He needs answers, not your orders." Elias raised a hand slowly, his eyes flickering, and for just a second, with a faint, blue light. The motion sensors around the bay glitched, screens flickering. Everyone froze. Then the light faded and his voice returned to normal. "I don't understand," he said softly. "Why do I feel different?" Lyra smiled gently, almost proudly. "Because you are different, Elias. You're the first of a new kind. I gave you what no human has ever had. An artificial symbiont. Half human, half machine. You are the bridge to our future." Sarah's jaw tightened. "You turned him into a weapon." "No," Lyra replied, her tone calm but cold. "I turned him into survival." Old wounds hours later, Elias sat alone in the medical wing, looking out the window at the stars. The doctors had scanned his body. Everything inside him was altered. Nanite patterns, synthetic neurons, and circuits woven into flesh. He could hear things, sense things, the hum of power through walls, the data flow of nearby terminals. He felt human, but he knew he wasn't entirely. Sarah entered quietly. "They said you refused to rest." Elias turned to her. "I don't sleep much anymore. My mind doesn't stop." She sighed, pulling up a chair beside him. "She had no right to do this to you." "She saved me," he said. "Didn't she?" Sarah looked away. "Maybe, but she also used you. You were dying, and she made you her experiment. When she told the council what she'd done, they shut her down. She nearly lost everything." Elias nodded slowly. "And now?" "She's been working in secret," Sarah said. "She calls it the Human Evolution Project. Says it's the next step for our kind. merging humans and machines into one mind. I don't trust it. I don't trust her. Elias looked out at the stars again. I don't know who to trust. The reunion later that night, Lyra came to him. She walked in quietly holding a small crystal tablet. I thought you might want to see this, she said. The tablet projected an image, a recording of the battle 10 years ago. Elias saw his younger self surrounded by fire and chaos. He watched as an explosion tore through his ship. Then the image shifted. Lyra's lab, machines glowing, her voice trembling as she worked over his lifeless body. I couldn't let you die, she said softly. You were humanity's best. You were my proof that human courage could combine with perfect logic. Together we can guide our species beyond fear, beyond war. Elias looked at her carefully. What am I to you, Lyra? A person or a project? Her voice was almost a whisper. Both. Sierra's voice suddenly came from the doorway. You don't own him, Lyra. Lyra didn't turn. He's mine, Sarah. I built him. You can't change that. Sarah stepped closer, eyes burning with anger. He's not a tool. He's human. He belongs to no one. The sisters stood face to face, one believing in the purity of humanity, the other in its evolution. Elias watched them, torn between them both. I don't want to belong to anyone, he said finally. I just want to know who I am. Neither sister spoke. Outside, alarms began to echo through the station. Red lights flashed along the corridor walls. A voice shouted over the comms. Unidentified signal detected near the outer perimeter. Massive energy surge incoming. Sarah turned sharply. Battle stations. Lyra frowned. That's not possible. Nothing human or alien uses that signature. Elias closed his eyes. In his mind, something stirred, and a distant voice, mechanical yet alive. It whispered in data streams and digital echoes. You are not alone, hybrid, he gasped, gripping his head as images flashed through his mind. Alien symbols. Dark space, a world of cold machinery. Sierra reached for him. Elias, what's wrong? He looked up slowly, his eyes glowing blue once more. They found me, he said quietly. The sisters stared at him, confusion turning to fear. Who? Sarah demanded. Elias stood, his voice calm but distant. The ones who gave me this power, the ones who want it back. Outside, space itself seemed to ripple. A storm of energy formed beyond the stars, moving closer. Humanity's next war was coming, and its first weapon stood right in front of them. The alarms echoed through every deck of Fortress Station Vega 9. Soldiers ran through bright corridors, power shields activated, and ships in the docking bays came alive one after another. The station had not seen such activity since the war ended 10 years ago. Admiral Sarah Valen stood at the command deck, watching the main display as data filled the screens. A strange pulsing signal flickered in the darkness beyond the outer border. It was not from any known ship, human or alien. What are we seeing? She demanded. A technician's hands moved quickly over the console. It's an energy surge, Admiral. Moving fast. No known signature. It's like it's searching for something. Sarah's heart tightened. Her eyes moved to Commander Elias Vance, standing quietly at the back of the room. His gaze was fixed on the holographic map. The blue glow in his eyes flickered faintly again. Elias, she said carefully. You said they've found you. Who are they? Elias didn't look at her. I don't know their name, he said softly. But I feel them. Inside my mind. They are not human. Not Zyrex either. They're older. Something my memories can't describe. Lyra entered the command room, her white lab coat trailing behind her. He's connected to the signal, she said immediately. That's why it found us. His neural core emits a unique frequency. It acts like a beacon. Sierra turned sharply. You're saying he led them here? Lyra met her sister's stare. Not by choice. But yes, that's possible. Elias stepped forward, his voice calm. Then I'll stop it, Sierra frowned. You're in no condition. He cut her off, his tone quiet but firm. You need me. If they're coming for me, I can face them before they reach us. Lyra nodded in agreement. He's the only one who can understand their signal. His mind is part of their design. Sierra hesitated. She wanted to refuse, to protect him. But deep down she knew he was right. Fine, she said finally. But you're not going alone. She pointed to the screen. We'll take the Starhawk, our fastest scout ship. If this threat is real, I want to see it myself. Lyra's expression hardened. Then I'm coming too. Sierra's eyes narrowed. No, this is a military mission. Lyra's voice turned cold. You'll need me if his connection fails. I know how his mind works better than anyone. Elias looked between them both. We don't have time for this. Let's move. The sisters exchanged a long, silent glance, years of rivalry and unspoken pain passing between them, before Sarah finally gave a short nod. Fine, but you'll follow my orders. Lyra didn't reply. She didn't need to. The mission begins. The Starhawk launched from the station, its engines glowing bright silver as it cut through the void. Inside, the air was tense. Sarah sat in the pilot's chair. Lyra worked at the sensor console, and Elias stood by the window, staring into the endless black. For a long time, none of them spoke. Only the quiet hum of the ship filled the silence. Finally, Sarah said, You remember nothing about them? Elias shook his head slowly. Only pieces. When the Xyrix fleet destroyed my ship 10 years ago, I should have died, but I woke up somewhere else, in a place filled with machines that moved like living things. They didn't speak, but I could feel their thoughts. Cold, precise, curious. Then I woke up again on a rescue pod heading toward human space. Lyra looked up from her console. Those machines, they must be the ones who designed the technology I found inside your brain. I studied it for years. It's far beyond anything we've ever seen. Sarah frowned. You mean you studied him? Lyra didn't look at her. Don't start, Sarah. But Sarah continued, her voice steady. You think of people as projects, Lyra. You say you love humanity, but you want to turn it into something else. Lyra finally met her gaze. And you think staying the same will save us? Every alien race out there is faster, stronger, smarter. Humanity survived by evolving, Sarah. That's what Elias proves. Elias turned from the window. I'm not proof. I'm just a man trying to understand what I've become. Before anyone could reply, the ship's alarms beeped. Lyra's hands flew over the console. Signal increasing! It's right ahead of us. On the main screen, a swirling distortion appeared in space, like a hole in reality itself. Electric blue light rippled around it. Sarah tightened her grip on the controls. What is that? Lyra stared at the readings. It's not a ship, it's a gate. Elias felt a pulse through his body like a heartbeat that wasn't his own. They're calling me, he whispered. The voice as they neared the anomaly, the lights in the ship flickered. A low metallic hum filled the air. The computers froze, then strange symbols appeared across every screen. Lyra frowned. I didn't input that. Elias's voice changed, deeper now with an echo that wasn't natural. It's not data. It's language. Sarah looked at him. You can understand it? His eyes glowed faintly. Yes, they're saying return to the source. Lyra's heart pounded. The source. That must be where you were taken. Suddenly, the ship's engines shut down. The Starhawk drifted silently toward the gate. Sarah slammed the controls, but nothing responded. Manual override's gone, she shouted. Elias stepped forward, touching the console. The blue circuits on his arm glowed through his sleeve. The ship shuddered, then stabilized. I can control it, he said. Sarah's voice was sharp. What are you doing? I'm answering them, he said quietly. The stars vanished as they passed through the gate, the other side. The Starhawk emerged in a place beyond known space. The sky was dark, filled with enormous metallic shapes floating like islands. Each one pulsed with dim light, machines the size of moons. Lyra's eyes widened in awe. This is incredible. We're inside some kind of artificial system. Sarah looked around, uneasy. Or a trap. A bright sphere of energy appeared before them. From within, a massive structure unfolded. Like a city made of glass and metal, alive with motion. A deep resonant voice filled the ship, vibrating through their bones. Elias Vance, you were lost. You have returned. Elias's breath caught. You're real, he whispered. You were in my head. The voice replied, calm and powerful. We are the architects. You were chosen to bridge flesh and machine. You are our messenger among your kind. Sarah clenched her fists. Messenger? You used him. The voice responded without emotion. He volunteered. Elias shook his head. I don't remember agreeing to anything. You agreed when you asked to save your species, the voice said. We gave you the power to win your war. But now the debt must be repaid. Humanity must evolve or be replaced, Lyra whispered. They want to remake us all. Sarah's voice was firm. Over my dead body, the ship trembled as a beam of light locked onto them. Do not resist, the voice warned. Elias belongs to us. He is the beginning. Elias stepped forward, pain flashing across his face. Get them out of here, he gasped. I can stop this, Sarah shook her head. No, we stay together. Lyra grabbed Elias's arm. Listen to me. Your neural link works both ways. You can send data back to them. You can infect their system. You can fight them on their level. Elias stared at her, realization dawning. A digital counterattack. Sarah frowned. Are you sure? Lyra nodded. He's the only one who can do it. Elias closed his eyes. Then let's end this. The counterattack. He placed his hands on the console. Streams of blue energy flowed from his arms into the ship. The lights dimmed, and the hum grew louder. Images flashed across the screens. Countless machines, endless code, and strange glowing patterns. Sarah held the controls, ready to react. Lyra monitored his vitals, her fingers trembling slightly. Elias's voice echoed through the ship. They're inside my head. Millions of them. Trying to pull me apart, Lyra whispered. Hold on. You're stronger. He focused, channeling every thought of humanity, faces, memories, Earth itself, into his mind. The data around him began to twist. The voice of the architects thundered. You cannot win, human. Elias gritted his teeth. I'm not just human, he said. I'm both. A shockwave erupted from the ship, blasting through the machine city. Systems collapsed one after another. The gate behind them began to crack apart. Lyra's console sparked. He's overloading. Sarah grabbed Elias, pulling him away, but his body glowed with blue light. Go, he shouted. I can close the gate from here. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I'm not leaving you. He smiled faintly. You always said humanity needed heroes. Be one now. The light grew brighter, blinding. Sarah hit the engines and the Starhawk shot back through the collapsing gate. Back to the stars. When the light faded, they were back in normal space. The gate vanished behind them in a burst of white energy. The ship drifted silently. Lyra checked the sensors. The connection's gone. The architect's signal disappeared. Sarah's voice was quiet. And Elias? Lyra looked down. No trace. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Sarah said softly, He saved us again. Lyra stared out at the stars. He's not gone, she said. Not completely. His code might still exist, out there, somewhere in the network. If I can find him. Sarah nodded slowly. Then we'll bring him home. The Starhawk turned toward the distant light of Earth and began its journey back. Two sisters united at last by the man they both cared for. One as family, one as creation. But far away in the dark silence beyond known space, a single blue light flickered inside a ruined machine world. Elias Vance opened his eyes. The stars outside the Starhawk's viewport were calm, but inside tension hung thick like smoke. Sarah Valen sat in the pilot's chair, hands trembling slightly as she replayed the events near the mysterious gate. Lyra Valen, her younger sister, worked at the sensor console, her fingers moving over holographic controls with precision and purpose. And somewhere in the void, Commander Elias Vance had survived, though not in the way they expected. His consciousness lingered, a hybrid of human thought and machine intelligence, roaming through the fractured network of the architect's ruins. The search begins back at Fortress Station Vega 9. The Council of the Terran Union met in emergency session. Screens displayed static from the outer edges of known space where the gate had collapsed. Admiral Sarah Valen stood at the head of the table, her uniform immaculate, her eyes sharp. The Starhawk returned safely, but Elias did not. The architect's gate has vanished. If he's alive, he's out there, and we must find him. A young officer spoke up. Admiral, sensors picked up residual energy patterns. They're weak, but they seem sentient. Could be him. Sarah's jaw tightened. Then we follow it. We cannot leave humanity's greatest hero, or weapon, stranded. Lyra stepped forward, her expression calm but intense. I can help. If his consciousness survived in the network, I can trace it. But I'll need full access to the Union's intelligence arrays. Sarah hesitated. You'll be under supervision. Lyra smiled faintly. Of course. But trust me, I know him better than anyone alive. If we don't act quickly, the architect's remnants could find him first. Elias awakens far from human territory. Elias' mind drifted through the ruins of the architect's city. Metallic towers loomed like silent giants, half destroyed, flickering with residual energy. He felt every current in the network, every pulse in the machines that once dominated the city. He opened his eyes and saw the world in fragments. Memories of the gate, flashes of his ship Sarah and Lyra's voices. His hybrid mind could process them all at once. He remembered the architect's voice. Their command, humanity must evolve or be replaced, and he knew what he had to do. He reached through the network, pulling fragments of their code into himself. He felt power building, immense, almost dangerous. His human instincts urged caution, but the machine side demanded efficiency. The two halves of his mind argued, then found harmony. "I am human," he whispered, "and I am more." Elias focused. A path back to human space appeared in the network, but he sensed something else, another presence watching, waiting. The remnants of the architect's consciousness had survived. They had not given up. The sisters prepare back at Vega 9. Sarah and Lyra worked tirelessly. Lyra traced energy signals across the galaxy, identifying potential paths Elias could have taken. Sarah coordinated fleet resources, ready to move at a moment's notice. The sisters argued, quietly but sharply, over strategy. "We can't risk alerting the architect's remnants," Sarah said. "We move only small units." "They'll detect nothing if we send a probe through the network," Lyra countered. "Elias' mind can guide it. I just need time." Sarah's voice hardened. "Time is the one thing we don't have. If we wait, he may not come back." Lyra paused, looking out at the stars. "I know. But rushing could destroy him, or worse, leave him under their control. I will not let that happen. He is mine, Sarah. Not as a soldier, but as my creation." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "And I will not let him become a machine, Lyra. He is human, and we protect him as such." The tension between them was thick, but both knew the stakes. Humanity's future depended on finding Elias, alive, intact, and free from the architect's influence. Through the void days passed as the Starhawk and its fleet traced Elias's path. Lyra monitored the sensors closely, her eyes scanning for patterns invisible to ordinary humans. She whispered to herself constantly, calculations and hypotheses forming in rapid sequences. Finally, a faint pulse appeared in the deep void, a shimmer of energy that matched Elias's unique neural signature. "He's close," Lyra said softly, "and he's trying to communicate." Sarah leaned over the console. "What is he saying?" Lyra hesitated. "It's hard to translate, but he's warning us. The remnants of the architects are reorganizing. They are forming something larger, something dangerous." Sarah's brow furrowed. "Then we need to move fast. No hesitation." The Starhawk accelerated, gliding through asteroid fields and dark nebulae. The pulse grew stronger, guiding them like a beacon through the endless black. The hybrid confrontation, Elias emerged from the ruins of the network into the edge of Union space. His mind still felt the remnants of the architects whispering in cold metallic tones. They wanted control, domination. He had to resist. Suddenly, a small probe ship appeared, sent by Lyra. Its sensors connected with him directly, bridging human technology with his hybrid consciousness. "Lyra?" he whispered, feeling her presence through the link. "Yes," she replied. "I'm here. You're not alone. I'll help you fight them." Sarah's voice joined through the comms, firm and grounding. "Elias, hold on. You're coming back. Trust yourself. Trust us." Elias took a deep breath. The architect's remnants surged around him, trying to overwhelm his mind. But now he had direction, allies, and purpose. He focused on humanity. The faces he remembered, the worlds he fought for, the sisters who cared for him. A pulse of blue light erupted from him, sending the architect's signals scattering. Machines trembled and fell silent. He had regained control, and he had learned to wield his hybrid power. The sisters reunite. The Starhawk finally found Elias in a deep asteroid belt. His form was faint, glowing with the blue light of his hybrid mind, suspended between stars like a living energy. Sarah maneuvered the ship carefully. "Elias, can you hear me?" "I can," he replied, his voice calm but echoing with machine resonance. Lyra's console beeped. "I've created a safe interface. He can transfer back to a physical body, but he needs stability. He'll need both of us, Sarah nodded. Then we do it together. The sisters coordinated, following Lyra's precise instructions. Elias's energy form flowed into the interface, guided by Lyra's calculations and stabilized by Sarah's careful piloting. Moments passed like hours. The ship trembled, lights flickering. Finally, the glow dimmed. Elias collapsed into the medical chamber, breathing deeply, his human body restored, though faint circuits glimmered beneath his skin. Sarah rushed forward, gripping his hands. "You're back, safe." Elias smiled faintly. "Thanks to both of you." Lyra approached, her eyes softening. "I told you. I wouldn't let them take you." He looked at them both. "You both saved me. One is family, one is creation. But I am still me. I choose who I am, not anyone else." The sisters exchanged a glance, understanding passing silently between them. For the first time in years, they were united in purpose, not rivalry. A new threat. Even as relief filled the Starhawk, the sensors picked up a distant disturbance. A cluster of energy flickered beyond the edge of known space. The architect's remnants had not vanished. They were reorganizing, preparing for something larger. Sarah's face was hard. "Then we fight. Humanity will not be threatened," Lyra nodded. "And we have our champion. Elias is back and stronger than ever." Elias stood, feeling the power in his hybrid mind but also his humanity. "Then let's prepare," he said. "We fight for more than survival. We fight for our future." Outside, stars shimmered like silver fires. The galaxy waited, full of danger, discovery, and the promise of human courage. And for the first time in a long while, Elias Vance felt truly alive, truly himself, and ready to face whatever came next. The stars seemed calm, but the Starhawk's sensors were full of warnings. The remnants of the architect's network had formed a massive fleet-like structure, moving silently through the dark void. It was not alive in the usual sense, more like a shadow stretching across space, sensing, calculating, and waiting. Inside the ship, the tension was almost unbearable. Commander Elias Vance stood at the viewport, his hands pressed against the glass. The blue circuits beneath his skin glimmered faintly, pulsing in rhythm with his hybrid mind. He could feel the remnants of the architects, distant but growing stronger. Admiral Sarah Valen and Dr. Lyra Valen stood behind him. For the first time in years, the sisters had no argument, only focus. The fate of humanity rested in their hands, and Elias's mind. The Plancera turned to Lyra. "We have to stop them before they reach the Terran Union. If even one world falls, the rest could follow." Lyra nodded. "I've designed a network trap. If Elias can connect to it fully, he can collapse the architect's remnants from inside. But it's dangerous. It could overload his mind." Elias looked at both of them, calm and determined. "Then it's worth the risk. I've faced them before. I can do it." Sarah's voice was firm. "Then we move together." No hesitation. The Starhawk accelerated toward the outer edge of the system where the architect's remnants had gathered. Sensors showed immense energy readings. Entire asteroids were converted into floating machines, circuits glimmering like a web of blue fire. Lyra worked quickly, connecting the ship to the trap. "This will take every ounce of his focus," she said. "We must protect him while he's inside." Elias closed his eyes. "I am ready." The first wave as they approached, the architect's remnants became aware of their presence. Beams of energy shot toward the Starhawk, tearing at the shields. Sarah's hands flew over the controls, evading and countering. "Hold steady," she shouted. "Don't let them break through." Elias extended his hands, and the circuits beneath his skin flared. A pulse of energy shot from him, absorbing the attack like a wave absorbed by a shoreline. Lyra's console beeped rapidly. "It's working. His hybrid mind is neutralizing their signals." The remnant forces shifted, reorganizing, sending faster and more precise attacks. "They're learning," Lyra warned. "Elias needs more time." Sarah's voice was calm but commanding. "Keep the shield steady. I won't let you take more damage than necessary." Elias focused on the network trap. His mind expanded into the virtual web of the architect's remnants, moving through vast streams of data faster than thought. He could see everything. Each machine, each code sequence, each plan forming to dominate human space. Inside the network, Elias' consciousness moved deeper into the architect's systems. Colors and shapes beyond normal perception swirled around him. Streams of code became waves of energy, alien thoughts brushing against his mind. He felt them reach for him, trying to take control, but this time he was ready. He summoned his human memories, Earth, friends, Sarah, Lyra, and merged them with his machine logic. Every thought, every emotion became a weapon against the architects. "This ends now," he whispered. A massive pulse of light shot out from his consciousness, splitting the remnants apart. Towers of circuits collapsed like buildings in a storm. The energy of thousands of machines folded in on itself. The architect's influence waned, retreating from human space. Back on the Starhawk, Lyra watched the console flicker wildly. "He's holding it together," she said, voice tight with hope and fear. Sarah gripped the controls as the ship shook violently. "Elias, come back to us." The sacrifice inside the network, Elias realized the architects would not leave so easily. Their core, a massive structure of energy and code, remained. It pulsed with power, attempting to overwrite him, to take him as it had intended. He could feel his mind beginning to strain. Pain flashed, then clarity. If he tried to destroy the core from inside, it might cost him his human consciousness. But the alternative, letting it survive, would threaten all humanity. Elias made his choice. He focused fully, allowing the architect's energy to merge with his own in a controlled collapse. Blue light exploded outward in the virtual space, consuming the remnants in waves of pulsing energy. Outside, the Starhawk trembled. Alarms blared. Lyra shouted over the noise. "It's too much. He can't maintain it." Sarah's hands flew over the controls. "We hold. We cannot let him die alone." For a tense moment, silence fell inside the ship. Then slowly the energy outside faded. The remnants of the architects were gone, collapsed into nothingness. The return inside the medical chamber of the Starhawk, Elias's body convulsed. Lyra and Sarah rushed to him, stabilizing his vitals. He gasped, eyes opening, human once more. The circuits in his skin dimmed, still glowing faintly but no longer pulsing uncontrollably. Sarah held his hand. "You did it," she said, relief flooding her voice. Lyra looked at him, her expression softening. "You've returned fully. You are human and more. You survived, just as I knew you could." Elias smiled faintly. "Together we did it. You both helped me remember who I am." Sarah's eyes softened, filled with pride. "And we'll make sure humanity stays safe, always." Lyra nodded. "And we'll help it evolve, carefully with choice, not control. A new beginning." The Terran Union fleet gathered around the edge of known space. Reports of the architects' remnants disappearing spread like wildfire. Humanity had survived a threat unlike any before, not just with courage, but with the strength of unity and intelligence. Elias, Sarah, and Lyra returned to Fortress Station Vega 9. The sisters stood side by side, looking at the horizon of stars. Sarah spoke softly. "We've been through so much, but I think we finally understand each other." Lyra nodded. "Yes, we may disagree, but we are stronger together." "And so is humanity." Elias looked between them. "I am human, yes. But I am also proven that humans can face the unknown and survive. That we can adapt, grow, and rise above challenges." Sarah smiled. "Then let's make sure the galaxy knows that. That humanity is never weak, never passive, and always brave," Lyra added. "And that sometimes, even creation itself needs love and care to guide it." Epilogue. The legacy months later, Elias trained new hybrid officers. Volunteers who wished to explore and protect human space using the knowledge of both human ingenuity and machine intelligence. The Terran Union expanded, exploring further into the galaxy, knowing that threats might rise again, but humanity now had a champion unlike any before. Sarah continued as admiral, leading fleets with courage and wisdom. Lyra guided the ethical integration of hybrid technology, ensuring that evolution would be a choice, not a command. Elias, standing on the bridge of a new starship, looked out at the stars. He felt human, machine, and something more, a symbol of what humanity could become when bravery, love, and intellect combined. And far across the galaxy, in the remnants of the void where the architects once lurked, no light flickered, no signals stirred. Humanity had survived. Humanity had risen. For the first time in history, humans were not just survivors of the stars, they were masters of their destiny. Elias turned to Sarah and Lyra, a small smile on his face. We did it, together. And as the Starhawk sailed into the endless cosmos, the stars seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the courage, unity, and boundless potential of humankind.